Hello, my name is Michael Smith. I'm the director here at the National Model Aviation Museum. Happy to be joined today by Bob Sifleet, who was a four-time National Air Modeling Champion, Grand Champion, although with a slight difference in terms of the 1976, and that's what we're here to talk about today, are the trophies that you were kindly donating to us that represent the 1976 National Championships, the Free Flight Champion and then the Open Champion trophies. Can you tell us a little bit about the Nats in 1976, preparing for it, what was going to be involved?
Well, it had been quite a few years since I had attempted to compete for the national championship. In fact, it was a whole decade. Of course, I got married, family, busy with a lot of other things, so I only flew a few events. But for the 76 Nats, I said, well, I'd dust off the control line models and a few other airplanes and go try. And so I really did not much beforehand preparation other than just making sure the control line models worked and a little test flying on a couple things. And so went down to Springfield and Dayton to fly.
Now, was the control line models ones that you had used in previous years' Nats?
Yeah, it's the same two I used in the 66 Nationals. So it's a half-A speed model and a half-A proto speed model.
And so the Nationals there in Springfield, what was your experience there? When was the last time you had been to a Nats?
I had been at the 71 Nats, I believe, was the last one prior to that.
And how, I was going to say, how was that?
Well, Springfield was a little unusual. It was, sort of a local municipal airport, good long runways and that type of thing, but a lot of corn all around it. And that's before we had trackers, so chasing was become a paramount thing. You had to really be good at retrieving your models if you had a lot of long flights.
So for the Nats for that year, you were split on several different fields?
Right. It was Free Flight was at Springfield, and the other events were at Wright Field in Dayton.
Now, did that create a problem in terms of transportation, trying to get back and forth to the different events you were going to fly?
Well, you had to figure out how you were going to get this stuff done and allocate the time required to get it done.
And then, do you recall what events you flew and what days you flew them on?
Well, I can't remember the days, but I can remember the events. But I flew half-A, A, and B free flight, Mulvihill, F1A Nordic, F1B Wakefield, F1C Power, and then the two control line events.
Well, and obviously you did pretty good in free flight since you were awarded.
I had a good session in free flight. I didn't win anything, but I did really well. I mean, I was second in Wakefield, third in A-Gas, FAI Power, and tow line glider, and fifth in Mulvihill. And in doing that, why, I had nearly posted perfect scores in those events, just even to place that high. So that gave me a lot of high percentage points.
Now, you said in going back, this year we know was the last year that these awards or this type of award was given, but they did not have the Grand Champion Award this year.
Yeah, I don't know the politics as to why they changed, other than the fact that I believe that was the first time that I knew of where they gave away category awards. So it was maybe just a matter of where you're going to put your money, maybe.
Now, in terms of this Nats, were there any memorable flights or memorable events or things that happened?
Oh, I can't remember, other than maybe some of the people that were there. There was Pierre Chosborg from France was there flying. He flew Wakefield. In fact, I lent him my motorcycle so he could chase. And that's when I first met him, and we've become great friends ever since. I mean, almost any time I go to Europe to fly F1E, he's always there, and he's always a good buddy. And then also Lars Olofsson of Sweden, who the previous year had won the F1C World Championship. And Raul Anderson from Toledo hosted him, and he came over and flew a couple of events at this Nats too. So it was had a little international flavor to it too.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to mention about those Nats?
Well, it was, when you look back, it was a big challenge, but it was a relief to get through it. Because you're not really concentrating on one day's competition. At those prior Nats, you're worried about flying on 6 or 7 days, and one or two, and maybe even in a couple of cases 3 events a day that you've got to do as well as you can.
Well, like you said, with the free flight events, you had to make sure you were doing good. You couldn't risk doing bad in one event and losing too much points, or it would be all done.
Be all done, that's right.
Well, thank you very much again for joining us and for the wonderful donation of your 4 years Open and Grand Champion and the first trophy that we've got representing a class. So we really appreciate your donation to the museum.
Well, you're most welcome.